Welcome, 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 Bronco Nation. My name is Nick. I'm your co host. I'm in an undisclosed location here in the Blue Vision studio in Blue Turf Country. I'm joined with my co host, Sam Gillette of Sam Talk Sports. How's it going, Sam? What's
Oh,
up?
it's going. Football's back, and I'm excited.
And you haven't been very busy now, have you?
Uh, that's a lie. Between working 8-hour days and coming in and working conference previews for 4 hours a night, it's football season.
and and it looks like you're just about done. You got your Big Ten previews out today, and I'm assuming that SEC is on its way.
It is. It is. I hope to have it out before the first SEC game tomorrow. Uh, we'll see how that goes. Technology is a fickle thing, and sometimes it doesn't let you do what you want.
Yep. Well, plus, you took on a huge project with what 136 FBS teams.
Yes, and it's safe to say I will not be doing this for basketball season. I'd have to start now, and I just ain't going to do it. I'm sorry, basketball fans. That 136 teams, that's
Right.
enough to make anyone, especially without a research team, doing it all on my own while juggling a full-time job as well and a family. It makes it difficult. The fact that I'm able to do it at all is a testament to my will for growing this channel.
Well, I appreciate you, and I know that there's many in Bronco Nation that appreciate your efforts. It's going to be awesome as we go through this season.
Yep.
We kind of started late last season, but looking forward to keeping track of our opportunities to get into the college football playoff. So Bronco Nation, we are less than 20 hours away from season kickoff for season 25, and our Broncos are back-to-back Mountain West champions. They will be playing tomorrow in Tampa at 3:30 Mountain Time in Raymond James Stadium. The forecast looks like it's going to be about 89 degrees. USF Bulls are wearing all black at 5:30 Eastern Time, and the Broncos are wearing combination of white lid, white white lid, white jersey, and blue pants. So we've got the advantage on that. I don't know who made that decision, but I would have rethought that real quick before I did that. But hey, we'll take it. We'll take that advantage if it is one. I haven't seen anything in regards to any kind of rain showers or anything like that. But tomorrow will be our first step in defending the Mountain West Conference, defending that 12 seed in the college football playoff. So it's really important that we get a win, and we want to ideally, for our shot to go back to the college football playoff, we want to be undefeated going into South Bend, correct?
Yep. Yes, we definitely want that.
Yeah.
So,
and we'll get
and
into it. We'll get into
a victory in South
Go ahead.
Bend will be great.
Yes, and we're good at being an underdog and upsetting. So hopefully that's in the cards this year. But we'll be getting into how Sam has ranked all of the conferences. It's going to give us a base to work from. It's not set in stone. This is a preseason thing he went through. He did a really good job in looking at all 136 teams, predicting wins and losses for each team in each division. And so he's given us a great base, and we'll cover how he has ranked the conferences in preseason, and of course, it's going to fluctuate as these conferences eat each other up.
Yep.
In this episode of BNL, we're going to cover that scenario where the baseline is, and then we're also going to cover week 0 that just happened last weekend, and then to conclude the show, we're going to do our review on the Boise State USF Bowl season opener.
Yep. Let's get into week 0, shall we? Just do a quick review of college football back, and it's kind of heartbreaking that the first game back from the long off season was in Ireland. But hey, Farmageddon didn't disappoint overseas. It was a great game between Iowa State and Kansas State, and I really do believe that it's a preview of the Big 12 championship game. I don't know how many of you watched it. It was. I'm glad football season's back, and it's going to be a testament to the Big 12 this year. They need to change their name to the Big Mexican Standoff, because the Big 12 is going to eat each other. They're just going to be sitting there in the circle with pistols drawn. Let me rephrase that. You can't draw pistols in the NCAA anymore. It's a penalty. But they're going to be sitting there. They're going to be taking shots at each other, and it's going to keep any one Big 12 team from reaching them upper echelon levels like the SEC and the ACC like Clemson, because they don't have that same eat each other mentality that the Big 12 has, and it's what makes the Big 12 fun to watch. And I don't think Boise State's going to have to worry too much about UNLV's run defense this year. They let Idaho State put up almost 200 yards on them in their nail-biting win at home at that. Let's hope that's just our first game jitters over a lesser opponent. Maybe they're overlooking for next year. Fresno State absolutely did not show up against Kansas, but I don't have high hopes for Fresno State this year anyway. We'll get more onto that later in the show. Western Kentucky and Sam Houston. Sam Houston was probably my most disappointed team in opening week. I really thought that they would put something better together than what they did. They came out early and looked like they were going to make it a game, but they couldn't get anything going in the fourth quarter, and that really hurt them. Hopefully they can turn it around, because I have them doing good things in their conference, in the Conference USA. Stanford and Hawaii, probably one of the most entertaining games outside of Farmageddon. I was really excited that one was better than what the other ones were, because a last-second field goal by Hawaii to beat a Big Ten opponent does wonders for the Mountain West, and it's a fun story. Not only was it just a last-second field goal, but it's a last-second field goal by a guy from Japan who learned how to kick field goals on YouTube and talked his way onto a Midwest football team before finding his way to Hawaii to kick the game winner opening day against the Big Ten opponent.
Yeah.
You can't write a better storyline than that. So Hawaii, Stanford's not that great anyway, but still to get that win over a P4 opponent, that's big for future, for down the road. So that's your week one review.
And as always, Bronco Nation, we want to hear from you. If you have any questions, comments, give us your opinions. It's like a-holes. Everybody's got one. Let us see your opinion. As we're talking about these games, let us know what you thought about the game. Like, there is a couple good games out there, and
Yep.
it could have gone either way. So, we're always wanting to see your comments. We'll feature them on the show as we get them. And like right here, Rick Martinez, Bronco Nation. Hey, what's up, Rick? Let us know if you're in Tampa right now and watching us on YouTube or Facebook, or X, or wherever it is that you're watching us. We're always happy to have your comments, your questions, your opinions, anything. Just let us have it. All right, Sam. So you kind of ran down week 0 there.
Yep.
Let's chew on. Do you want to chew on one at a time, or?
Oh, for each game.
Yeah.
Yep. I was just kind of doing the main highlight of the week was Idaho State putting up almost 200 yards on UNLV. That was I wasn't expecting that at all after UNLV's defense and what they did last year with Ashton Genty. Granted, they were stacking the box against him, but still to allow that many rushing yards against an Idaho State. It's going to be interesting to see if UNLV bounces back from that. I mean, Idaho jumped out to a 10-0 lead on them in the first quarter and never let up off the gas. UNLV was able to pull it out in the end, but it was still concerning to see them struggle against a FCS opponent. It's definitely not what you want to see whenever the Mountain West is basically giving you their flagship team for next year. It's not a good look for the future of the Mountain West if that's the product that they're going to be putting out.
Yeah.
Sam Hughes.
Yep. I come at it at a different angle at that, but I put a question here in the chat here, guys. Do you think that UNLV is still someone that we should be concerned about in the Mountain West? So my like I said, everybody's got a-holes and opinions. My opinion is I thought it was actually, it was comical, what was going on with UNLV. And, part of me was rooting for, the underdog in our, the little guy in our state, Idaho State. But where I kind of come out with this is I kind of relate it almost to, what was it, the Oregon-Idaho game last year.
Yeah.
You have pretty much just a brand new team with UNLV and a brand new coach. So, I could see maybe that was probably the struggle, was getting everything in line. Now, if they would have lost, that would have been have been pretty devastating for them. But I think that with them coming back and winning that tough of a game, for them, playing little old Idaho State, I think that that's something that they can build on. And then hopefully for the Mountain West SOS, they can, start clicking so that they will be a competitive foe for the rest of the conference. We got Rick Martinez back in. He says our Broncos will play great even without Genty. Sire will have a good rushing game. And Rick, we'll get to that preview a little bit later. But yeah, I agree with you. I think we're just fine in the running game.
Yep. Fresno State laid an absolute egg against Kansas. I was really hoping they'd do a little bit more, but your quarterback throws 2 interceptions, only 179, I think, yards. It's not looking good for Fresno State to put up those kind of numbers. Whenever you can only rush for 37 yards, granted, 23 of them were negative 23 in sack yards, but still, that's not a great look whenever that's your rushing total. Had a fumble loss, so 3 turnovers. They got to secure the ball. They got to find a run game, and they need some receivers to get open, and the line to protect the quarterback so he's not getting rushed, and throwing those hurried passes. Only sacked, let's see, 3 times. So only sacked 3 times. I guess that's a positive, but yeah, it's just not a good look for Fresno, their first game against a much improved Kansas team. I will say that, but Fresno coming into the Pac-12 definitely needs to step up their game if we're going to turn that back into a power conference.
Yeah, I was really disappointed in Fresno, even though I don't like them. In fact, that's actually a good term to call it. But yeah, I really wanted them to go in there and ruin that homecoming for that new stadium over there in Kansas, and for them just to go out there and just get curb stomped wasn't a very good look for them or the conference. So yeah, not a good look.
Yep. Hawaii, they were probably the most impressive as far as what I was expecting. I actually had them beating Stanford, but just because Stanford's so terrible, not because Hawaii's any good. But Micah Alahado, I think that's how you say it. He's going to cause some issues for some teams when he's healthy. He caused all kinds of issues for Stanford with that hurt ankle he suffered, and still is running up and down the field. Threw 210 yards, 2 touchdowns, and had 36 rushing yards, most of which came at the end of the game when they're trying to put it away and get into field goal range. So Hawaii's going to be fun to watch. Defensively, they were all over the field. Had 61 total tackles and a sack. So and 2 tackles for losses. So the defense, they're getting after it. They did get an interception as well. So I'm excited to see what Hawaii does this year, and if they can build off of this and springboard into that next level. So that offense is going to be fun to watch, regardless, with Micah at the helm.
Yeah, and I was rooting for Hawaii to get that win over an ACC team. I just look at it. I look at it like that, like the smaller conference. When you have a smaller conference, less powerful conference over another one, I think that's always better for Boise State. And yeah, the way that game was probably, besides the other one that was in Farmageddon, that to me would probably rank second best of the weekend.
Yep. The only reason why I don't have the UNLV game up there as well, they're probably the third, obviously, the next closest game. But Farmageddon came down to the last plays. Stanford and Hawaii came down to the last plays. UNLV had that one. You could start to see them in the fourth quarter clicking. So that gives me hope for UNLV moving forward. Like you said, new coach, new faces all over the field. So that could be their Oregon-Idaho game. So we'll see.
Yep.
So you made mention about my top 25s and ranking and going through every other team out there, all 136 of them. I actually ranked all 136 of them, but I didn't rank it in your traditional sense. No one knows how a team is going to perform. Case in point, UNLV almost losing to Idaho State. No one can predict a team being great. No one can predict a team being horrible, because there's just so many variables that are out there that can change from one week to the next. So before snaps even played, to have a poll, basically a popularity contest that skews the entire polling process for the rest of the season, because people get it in their heads early on, okay, these teams are the greatest, is kind of, it's out there. So what I did was I looked at several different factors, like returning production and strength of schedules and the success of the returning production, not just that the people are returning, but how successful were they last year versus this year, or versus years past. Anyway, and I came up with a formula that ranked everybody based on how successful they can be this year. It may not pan out that they stay in these ranks, but without a single snap being played, my ranks are based on how successful a program can be. And So I ranked all 136 teams from every conference and threw them all out there, threw it up against the cupboards and saw what stuck around. And you can take some time and look at them. I also have them on the Facebook page. Nick's has shared them to all the Bronco Nation update pages. They're on the Sam Talk Sports pages. And you can get a more in-depth look at how my rankings look. I know I'm kind of breezing through them pretty quick here. But I did have Alabama, as much as I hate to say that, Alabama at number 1. And basically their strength of schedule carried them up there, if I remember right, in their returning production. But this is how my top 25 differs from the main polls, the media polls, the popularity contests. The top 5 is a whole lot different. But you get down into the middle of the packs and you start seeing similarities on where my teams are versus where the APs and the coaches polls put people. And so, yeah, it was fun coming up with a formula to figure out who was what and where and who's going to do good things. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all pans out. And at the end of the season, we'll come back and redress this and see, all right, did Alabama have the most successful season, and who moves up and moves down, and go from there. It's my first preseason poll I've ever done, and I'm happy with the way it came out. Nick, you see anything that stands out to you in these?
Again, I don't take preseason polls with a lot of weight, but something that just stuck out to me was SMU at 24 on yours. I imagine that's based on your formula on Clemson having success during the season, correct?
Yeah, and SMU they lost a few key positions as well, so that kind of played into it. Clemson they're ranked high because they have the number 1 returning rate in the NCAA. I think something like 80% returning players for Clemson. So their continuity level is way up there versus anybody else, and so they have that chance to be the most successful because they have that much returning from a team that reached the heights that they reached last year.
And I'll pose a question to the chat and Bronco Nation. Do you think that Boise State should have been ranked higher than 25? Personally, I think 25 is just about right. Just being in there is at 25 in a preseason poll is far greater than we've seen in previous years, and it's a good place to start for a G6 as ourselves. It gives us a good place to climb, but we just got to win.
Yeah. So once I ranked everybody, I decided, well, let's turn those rankings into conference rankings. And based on the average of each team in each conference, I came up with the conference rankings, SEC being number 1. I think they had 13 people in the top 25. And that was the most out of any conference. And part of that's SEC bias, but there's a lot of it where strength of schedule comes into play that puts them up there. So on my rankings, it's stat based and production based, and the AP and coaches poll is popularity based, basically. So the MAC came in at number 10. And Nick, let's take some time here and let's run through who you think or who the favorites are to win the MAC in your opinion, and I'll give my opinion as well. You have any thought on that?
Can you pop up the card on the MAC? Because to be honest with you, when it comes to the other G6, I don't pay a lot of attention to them. I'm recency biased, and of course, I'm biased. I'm honest, I'm biased against for the Boise State, and I was gonna say, like, when I saw your preseason ranking on the conferences, I knew that you might catch some heat from some fans because of where the Mountain West is ranked. But let's see if I'm like I said, I'm recency biased from last year, right? I know we talked a lot about Buffalo, and was Miami up there too? Miami of Ohio was up there last year. So, yeah, I like what you got there. And again, guys, like, look at this. Sam ranked 136 teams and placed his prediction on the wins. That's incredible. But I think I would probably see you got 53, between 53 and 75. Again, I'm more recency bias, so I'm gonna pick Buffalo. I like Buffalo, University of Buffalo. So I'll go with them. But of course, as this plays out and we do this, I'm gonna change my mind for sure. As I see.
Yeah.
As I see a body of work. So I'll just throw out there, I'm judging the pageant. I'm going to go with Buffalo to win.
Yeah, and I like Buffalo pick. It was a coin toss for me, really, between Toledo and Buffalo. Buffalo's really coming on strong in the last few years. So, but I do still have Toledo winning the MAC, and Toledo's basically the only shot the MAC has at a CFP appearance, and it is a very long shot at that. But the MAC could have as many as 9 teams in the going bowling this year. So that's going to be and I say 9 teams, but it's more likely going to be 5 or 6 teams. They just have that chance to have that 9-team push. If they can catch a couple breaks. So, but yeah, I've got Toledo winning the MAC this year, just because of, like you said, recency bias.
I would highlight, and I would highlight Northern Illinois, just because I know that they played in the famous Potato Bowl, and they did upset Notre Dame, so maybe they're one of those wild cards I'd look at.
And the Huskies, they're hard to judge because they have an NFL style front line. Their line is huge, but all the other pieces around them is the reason they can't get over that hump and reach that level that Toledo's been at for the last couple of years, where they're 9-10 wins and knocking at the door of the top 25. So if Northern Illinois can ever put together a complete team, they are dangerous, especially if they can play the full 60 minutes. Coming in at number 9 is Conference USA this year. Nick, what stands out to you about Conference USA? You think Liberty's going to win the conference again and try and snake away a CFP berth?
Yeah, so this is one thing that I have, immediately after the, our 24 season, I've been thinking about, okay, our path back, right? And I think Liberty would be one of the obstacles that we're going to, maybe one of those obstacles, because their games are winnable, all of them.
Yeah.
And so if there's any snag that we run across, it may be Liberty or one of the other AACs, that teams over there.
Yeah, and you talk about their schedule, every game being winnable, but that's also because they don't really have that great of a schedule. Unless the AAC turns into the Big 12 or they eat each other, I really think if it's not Boise State, that the CFP rep from the G5 is going to come out of the AAC. But I do have Liberty winning Conference USA, beating a close game with Western Kentucky. So, yeah, and only because Liberty's been there, they've got that level.
Yeah.
And Western Kentucky, they're kind of an up and down team. So, sometimes they're hot, sometimes they're cold. And number 8, obviously, is the Mountain West. I'm going to save that. We're going to come back to that in a little bit, since we're going to cover every team in the Mountain West. Number 7 on our list is the SBC, and I know I caught a lot of heat for this one being over the Mountain West, but they rank better. You have James Madison. Georgia Southern's going to be up there this year. I wish they would have been better last year too. The Raging Cajuns, they're going to be up there. South Alabama's coming on strong. Troy has great potential, and Texas State also has great potential, especially if they get everybody's. They're going to be like Boise State this year. They're going to get everybody's best shot, a parting blow leaving the SBC. So Texas State, they're kind of right there. They could win a couple more, they could lose a couple more just because of that. Appalachian State, obviously a Boise State opponent this year. They're kind of mid-tier this year, but they could still do something. So, but I've got James Madison and Louisiana playing in the championship game. And interesting to note too, the SBC is the only conference now with divisions in them. So you could have the 2 best teams in the conference in one division, and I think that's what's going to happen here between James Madison and Georgia Southern. But because they are in a division, I have to go Louisiana for the championship game, and I've got James Madison taking it all.
Yeah, I don't have any complaints on the top 3. I think it could be any one of those 3. I kind of have a recency bias for Georgia Southern just because we saw them last year. But yeah, I could see any one of those 3 winning the SBC.
Yeah. Coming in at number 6 is who I think, even if Boise State only loses to Notre Dame, an AAC team could still possibly get ranked higher. And that's the AAC scares me just for that. We'll be rooting hard against the top teams in the AAC this year as Boise State fans. You got UTSA; they're going to be coming up strong. They've got some great returning talent. Navy and Army are going to be setting out to prove last year wasn't a fluke. Memphis wants to put their name on the board as well as a CFP contender. There's just a lot of really good teams in the AAC, really good mid-major teams, led by Tulane, who's been flirting for the last few years with New York Six Bowls and CFP playoff spots. And I've got Tulane and UTSA going to the championship game. And I literally flipped a coin on this one because I didn't know who I was going to choose, whether it be UTSA or Tulane. And it landed on UTSA. So that's my conference champion pick is UTSA.
Are you Texas biased? Is that what's going on here?
No, I mean, I used to live in San Antonio. I actually went to UTSA and Arizona State game was the first UTSA game I ever went to, and they almost pulled the upset off. And I'm like, well, that's exciting football. So it's not so much a bias as much as it is a seeing them live and in person. You kind of have a new perspective. Granted, that was years ago, but they have that capabilities. Plus, they have a head coach that coached high school literally 20 minutes from my house. So I kind of have a soft spot for the East Texas coaches.
For me, my top 4 are Memphis, Tulane, Navy, and Army. I think we'll see probably a lot of what we saw last year with this conference, with Navy and Memphis scaring us. But hopefully at the end we'll see them start eating each other, and while we're still racking up consecutive wins in the Mountain West and grabbing that that berth in the CFP.
Yeah. Number 5 is the Independents and the Pac-12. I lumped them all together, so there's no conference champion there. Though I do think Oregon State is going to take the de facto championship over Washington State. They just lost too much in the offseason. Washington State did. I don't think they're going to do a whole lot this year. Coming in at number 4 is the ACC. Miami's going to be navigating life after Cam Ward. SMU is going to try and show that they belong in the ACC, and last year wasn't just a flash in the frying pan. Florida State has a lot to prove after their horrendous last year, and I actually think that they're going to do a lot better. And Georgia Tech, I have a soft spot for Georgia Tech too because of the East Texas bias, I guess. Haynes King played at Longview High School, which is another school 20 minutes from the house, and I'm looking forward to see what he does with Georgia Tech this year. And they return Jamal Haynes, that running back that they have. That almost beat Georgia last season. I'm really excited to see what they do this year. But even with my East Texas bias, I still have it Clemson and Miami, with Clemson taking it. And SMU right there in the mix, and Louisville as well right there in the mix. But in the end, coming down to Clemson and Miami.
So I suppose that you picked Alabama to win Florida State in the opener.
Yeah, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than what people think it's going to be.
Mm-hmm. I think Clemson's going to be really good this year. I know.
Yes.
I know Clemson kind of fumbled their way into the CFP last year. I don't think it's going to be that case this year. I think Dabu Sweeney's got that team, and then you got Klubik coming back. I think he's going to be really good. I do think that if Florida State goes in and they take a win from Alabama, or even show up and make it a good game, I think it may be between Florida State and Clemson.
Yeah,
with Clemson winning.
And Clemson, like I said earlier, they got the number 1 return rate out of any team in the NCAA this year. Mm-hmm. I believe at any level as well. I mean, you return 80% of your production from last year, and Davo's built a culture at Clemson of champions, and people want to stay there and win their championship.
Yep. A lot of continuity right there.
Yep. Coming in at number 3 is the Big 12, the great Mexican standoff conference. Farmageddon, I believe, is going to be also the Big 12 championship game between Iowa State and Kansas State. We got to see a preview, the opener, and I think Kansas State pulls it out in the end. They're much improved this year, but you have teams like Texas Tech and TCU lying in wait, just ready to pounce, and you can't ever count out BYU. Even whenever they look like they're down for the count, they always do something and come back up and try and wiggle out a win. Colorado's going to see a significant drop this year, but I have every single team in the Big 12 getting bowl eligible this year, and that's in part to that eat each other mentality. It's like the snake eating its own tail. They just can't get out of their own way to get those 2 or 3 teams to get up there in the top 10 to where they get guaranteed multiple spots. They're going to be hanging in that. They may get one team up there, but for the most part, they're going to be hanging around that 13 to 22 level for the top of the conference. But they're going to be a fun conference to watch because of that. And I wish more conferences had more of that competitive nature, so you never really know who's going to break out. You got to actually pay attention to figure it out.
Yeah, this is a cool conference, and if they're eating each other up, we might even see where, if we're, playing similar to what we did last year, and the committee's honoring those wins and being ranked, where we might not just get that at large bid like before. Maybe there's a good chance that we could bounce up and get a better seed if these guys are eating each other. I really like this. I like the competition in this conference. I think it's utterly ridiculous that they played the Kansas State Iowa State game in Ireland, because I mean you got student athletes, right?
Yeah.
And that's one game that their parents aren't going to the game if they can't get to Ireland. I mean, whose idea was that? Like that is absolutely ridiculous in my opinion.
Yeah.
This is college football. This should be played in the United States, where it's supposed to be, either at home or at a neutral field on our soil. I mean, that's to me that I don't get this. This isn't the NFL. We're not branching out to Europe or anything like that. Like, so I mean, what are we doing here, NCAA? But for me, that's when we were texting earlier in the off season. I asked you, hey, who do you got? Iowa State. Where do you got Iowa State? Because I think that they have a really good chance at taking this conference, and now beating Kansas State. And that's the other thing too. Is like, if it comes down to a rematch, it just doesn't make sense to have that game in a foreign country.
Right.
It should have been here. So for me, I think it's either going to be Iowa State, or I think it's going to be if Texas Tech has their game together instead of coming on strong late like last season. I think it's either going to be Tech or Iowa State.
Yeah. Coming in at number 2, we just put this out last night, is the Big Ten. And I think I actually said Stanford was part of the Big Ten earlier, and I misspoke. So sorry, Big Ten, for putting another horrible team in your conference. You don't even know what to do with Purdue. This here, the Big Ten, probably of their top teams, has the weakest schedules of any national title contender or CFP contender. It's quite ridiculous that they're able to get away with that, and then they complain about the SEC having these big weak schedules whenever the Big Ten's scheduling FCS opponents and only playing 2 ranked opponents a year. It's not every team, but most of them, and it's kind of ridiculous. I don't think Ohio State's going to live up to the hype. Jeremiah Smith's going to be the lone bright spot on the offense. You could have some up and comers come in and make a little bit of noise, but they're going to have that fall off. I've got Penn State and Oregon going to the conference championship game, with Penn State finally getting the win, winning the big one, and taking home the hardware, and earning a number 2 spot in the CFP this year.
Yeah, for me, I think it. I in the pick'em, I picked Texas to take out Ohio State in game 1. So for me, it's between Texas, Oregon, and Penn State for me, and I think I'm thinking it's either going to be Texas or Oregon. It'd be nice to see Penn State, because then that would give us a little bit of credit. Hey, we played them in the playoffs last year, but I think for me it's either going to be Texas or Oregon. more continuity, especially the talent that's coming into that's just keeps rolling into Eugene. It's
Yeah,
hard not to overlook that in Oregon.
right. And number one conference this year is the SEC. I'm currently working on all their stuff, and the conference card is the last one that I make after I go through and get all my information put together. But I do have my SEC ranks, just so you can see. Um, but I got Alabama, obviously number one team in the SEC and number one team in the country in my rankings, with LSU, Texas A&M, and Oklahoma being the surprise there. But my favorite to win the SEC this year is actually Florida. With Lagway, if he stays healthy, Florida's going to be really hard to stop. He was brilliant last year whenever he was healthy. And I believe that Florida is going to beat either Alabama or LSU in the SEC championship game.
And for me, I think Alabama is going to be improved this year. I think in the second year, DeBoer, I think he's got things locked in. He's got people buying into his system. I think they're going to do very well. But I do have. I think South Carolina is going to do very well.
Yeah,
I have a feeling that they may have a potential at least having a seat at the table in the championship somewhere. But I think it's Alabama's to lose, just because I think Coach DeBoer has some good momentum going. I think Brian Kelly is going to be on the hot seat at LSU this year, and I don't have any confidence that they're going to turn anything around from last year. I think that they're just elite in name only right now because they're in the SEC and they're LSU. That's my opinion. If it's not Alabama or South Carolina, then it's going to be Texas. Okay. I got to retract from the Big Ten where I said Texas was going to be in there. Sorry about that. It's going to be it's either going to be Oregon or Penn State there. Got the conferences mixed up. So in this conference, I think it's going to be Texas or Alabama with the wild card of being South Carolina.
And I don't disagree with that. Texas has a lot of talent returning this year as well. So I'm stuck on Florida, and you can't ever rule out Alabama. And I don't think the teams are going to have that surprise of Texas's first year anymore. They're going to be playing up for them now. So whether or not Texas has the same success they had last year, that's remained to be seen. But we'll know for sure if Texas is truly back Saturday.
Well, you had Florida right in the basketball pool, and they they came and they won it all. So I'm not counting that out. So I think you got some good insight on some of those things. So
we are cruising right along in 2025. Are you looking for a healthy change? Just breathe and let the Organize Experience help you embrace change. The Organize Experience team masters in the art of helping people find freedom through decluttering, organizing, and creating organizing systems. So let Stacy's team help you in 2025. Visit their website at theorganizeexperience.com.
And we're back, and don't you think it's time to kind of look at the Mountain West?
I think so. Just give you a quick update or a quick look at it. You see the Mountain West at number 8, behind the AAC and the SBC for the preseason conference rankings. And whenever you look at the rankings, you see why. Boise State at 25. Then you have the next best is at 70 in San Jose State, and then there's a lot of teams in the hundreds in the Mountain West. So I actually think after watching UNLV against Idaho State, I almost updated this card and went San Jose State, but I'm going to wait. I'm going to keep it as UNLV right now in the championship game with Boise State beating them again. But I have some reserve about UNLV now. But
yeah, and like I said, again, they just pieced a team together. They got a brand new coach. So I mean, the jury's still out. They have plenty of time to get it together. I guess it's probably a good thing that they won, even though I was rooting for the little guy.
We're going to run through each team pretty quick here. We got New Mexico not doing too much this year. They can do two different ways. Be the laughing stock of the Mountain West, or they can get bowl eligibility. They're going to be playing in a bunch of tight games this year, I think, but because they have a first-year head coach and a bunch of new faces, I think that those games aren't going to go quite the way that they want them to, and they're going to end up with a one-win season against Idaho State. But after seeing Idaho State play last week, that they might not win that one either. Moving on to Nevada, another down year for them. I don't see them doing too much. I'm intrigued with their Penn State game. If they can come out and make some kind of respectable showing there, then maybe they'll be able to use that momentum to springboard into a more successful season. But I don't know if Nevada is going to be able to hold any kind of sustained success this year. And then Utah State, another one that's going to have another down year this year. They got they opened the season up against UTEP, who has old Malachi Nelson just named the starting quarterback for them. So that could be an interesting matchup to watch, but I don't see Utah State doing much of anything with Bronco Mendenhall back in Utah. But given it's Bronco Mendenhall, he's not going to go quietly into the night. And Utah State may do terrible things this year, but they're gonna improve. They're gonna have something to build on, and they'll get better in years to come. Anything stand out in those three teams, Nick, for you?
Yeah. So really interested to see how Jason Eck does with New Mexico with the new gig and some retreads from Idaho. Yeah, I think it's going to be a learning experience in year one. But I do wish the guy some success. I think it's a hell of a guy. Like his attitude and what he can do with little. So yeah. And then Reno or Nevada, you got Choate's second year. Yeah, I think he may do a little bit better than 4-8. But yeah, I still would not underestimate him when he plays us, because I'm sure there's still a chip on his shoulder from being overlooked. So I would take Nevada seriously for sure, even though they're not going to be in contention in the upper echelon of the Mountain West.
Well, Boise State's pretty much going to have a trap game every game this year in the Mountain West, because everyone's going to want to take that chip, take a shot at them, and so Boise State can't win that last Mountain West Conference title.
But I don't think there's a bigger chip than there is on Choate's shoulder right now. Yeah. And Utah State, Bronco Mendenhall is always dangerous. I mean, we went into Maryland or Virginia when he was there, and I thought we were going to win that game. And, in true Bronco Mendenhall fashion, they took it to us. So I think that even though that they're they're on the way back up. I still think that there's still some danger in playing a Mendenhall team.
Yeah. Wyoming, I think they improve a little bit from last year. Maybe not record wise, but in their production wise, they do have a favorable non-conference schedule, say for Utah and Colorado. But the way Colorado is now, Wyoming could surprise them. Not likely, but it could happen. They could be as high as 3-1 coming into the Mountain West, with their lone loss being to Utah. I like them to just shy of bowl eligibility, but again, they have a couple games that really could go either way, with Fresno State, Air Force, and Colorado State. Hawaii, not Colorado State. Fresno State, Air Force, and Hawaii could go either way depending on field conditions and stuff like that. So, because they're all played in Wyoming.
Yeah, this is where I think Nevada would pick up that other game. One of those other games is I think that they could probably win Wyoming.
And then Hawaii, you'll notice on Hawaii they have that little green W up there. I'm going to post these cards as we move through the season, just for the Mountain West. I may do it for everything, but for sure for the Mountain West whenever we do our talks and everything. So you can see, hey, this Sam's Talk Sports guy, he kind of knows his stuff, or what was this guy thinking? So moving forward, you'll see those.
Or like Jason would say, Sam talks too much or whatever that is. It's all fun and games. It's awesome.
Yeah. So I'll have what my prediction is for them, and then you'll see there what their actual record is. We'll keep a running total there, and we'll see just how much I know about the Mountain West Conference and beyond. But Mike Alahado, we talked a little about him in the opening segment, and I might have to rethink Hawaii's 5-7 record that I gave them. They may take out Arizona and Sam Houston and start Mountain West play 4-0. That's if his ankle injury isn't something that or foot. I think it was his foot. Might be a foot, not an ankle. Anyway, if that injury doesn't hinder him too much, then he could be something special for Hawaii, getting it done with his legs and in the air.
Totally possible after last game.
Yep. And then San Diego State, I see them barely getting bowl eligible this year. They got a less favorable non-conference. I see them going 1-3 non-conference. Washington State's a coin flip for me with them. They could get 2-4, but I don't see them beating Cal or Northern Illinois. But they can do some good things in the Mountain West Conference. I got them going 5-3 behind second-year head coach Sean Lewis.
I would like to see them pull out a win against Washington State just so that we don't get one of those Pac-2 in front of us when it comes time for CFP selection.
Yep. So of the bottom 6 schools out of my rankings, Nick, are you right there with me? You kind of agree? You think this is the seller of the Mountain West, or do you think what team in the cellar, the bottom 6, do you think has the best chance of proving me wrong and getting out of the cellar this year?
I think that you could from my perspective, I think you could probably flip Wyoming and Nevada, but after Hawaii's performance on Saturday, that may be one that rises up more past the top 6, especially if they do, like if they can pull another upset against Arizona and they're coming into Fresno 4-0. That to me, that I could see them becoming a contender.
Yeah. Moving on to Colorado State, Jay Norvell. He got transfer portal happy this year. He had to get some good people coming in. Got a wide receiver from Ohio State to bolster the wide receiver numbers. Probably the highlight of the transfer portal for him this year.
They like those wide receivers, man.
Yeah. Got some defensive backs from Utah and SMU. So he did some portal work this year, and it's going to be interesting to see how Colorado State does. I think they play a tight game against Washington, but Washington pulls that one out in the end. And UTSA, that's one where I really wanted to pick Colorado State to win that one for the Mountain West, but UTSA has they're going to have a surprise team this year. I think a lot of people are going to overlook them. So, but Colorado State in at number 95 on the Sam Talk Sports preseason poll. I think they get bowl eligible this year and boast a 5-3 record in the Mountain West.
Fair enough to me. And again, I do want to see them win Washington State to keep the Pac-2 below us in those CFP opportunities.
Yeah. Then Air Force, they're one that I really struggled with where the rankings, where the formula put them at number 90, because I really thought they'd be a little bit lower. But then I looked at their schedule, and they've got Bucknell and Utah State on their preseason or their pre-conference schedule, or not Utah State, excuse me, UConn, Bucknell and UConn on their non-conference schedule, and I think that kind of pushed them up there to the number 90 spot. I really expected to see them in the sub 100s, but Troy Calhoun coming in to his 29th season at Air Force. I think that's the longest tenured head coach in the nation right now, if I'm not mistaken. So he knows what he's doing there enough to keep him. Their strong point is the trenches this year, and if they're going to win games, it's going to be because of the line, the way their offense runs. The line, if the line's good, the Falcons are good. If the line's bad, they're going to be another seller team. I got them getting bowl eligible and splitting in the Mountain West Conference this year.
Yeah, this is fair enough. I would almost I think they actually have a good shot at winning Colorado State too. It's in-state, and yeah.
Fresno State, as you can tell, that's my second Mountain West pick that was correct. Mm-hmm. Over losing to Kansas. After that Kansas game, I don't agree with my 89 ranking there. I definitely don't agree with him being over Air Force. But first game against a tough opponent. We'll see how they do against Georgia Southern next week under first-year head coach Matt Entz. So he had a bunch of success at the FCS level. So give him time to get acclimated to the FBS level, and could be doing some good things in the future for Fresno.
Yeah, there's still time, but they still suck to me. So.
And of course, UNLV, we talked a little about them earlier. Their run defense really needs to step up if they're going to do anything this year. Yeah, Barry Odom went to Purdue, so that could be why UNLV suffered. We'll see what Odom does at Purdue and see if that's UNLV's excuse.
Yeah, I think I've stated it. I think it's early and time will tell. See if they start meshing, and good for them to squeak that win out.
Yep. I really did think Dan Mullen was going to do a lot more to get him prepared, though. So we'll just have to see how it works.
Yep.
San Jose State comes in at number 70. With UNLV's performance, like I mentioned earlier, I was really hesitant to not change my card before this show and put San Jose State in the title game. They could be a dark horse for the Mountain West this year. They can cause some real trouble with their game against Texas. If they can somehow make that a respectable showing, I might be a little concerned about meeting them in the conference title game if it comes down to that. So it was really hard for me to not let them go 11-1 with their only loss being Texas, just because I was really liked what I saw on paper. But we'll just have to see if on paper translates to on-field success.
Yeah, no. I hope you're right on this, and I would even hope I hope for an upset on Texas just to strengthen the conference. But I think you got it right. I think it's it will eventually come down to UNLV and Boise State. I think things won't mesh. And Mullen's a good coach, and they got on paper and and time will tell. The talent, like, he's got some big time talent. So let's see how that goes. But I do know that San Jose is a nice trendy pick for a lot of people out there too. They
returned their quarterback Eget and their running back Floyd Chalk, and I don't think they lost that many linemen. I know they return a lot of key positions too. So they did really well in the transfer portal, getting some P4 talent coming in as well. So it's going to be fun to see if that translates. Like I said, on paper translates to on field. They could be dangerous this year. But now, shall we get to what everyone's been waiting for? The end of the show. Just kidding.
Yep. If you guys are watching, let us know how you think the Broncos are going to do this year. So take it away.
So obviously there's maybe a little bias in this, but I think everybody in the nation pretty much has Boise State either at 11-1 or 10-2, depending on how well the South Florida game goes. I almost wanted to give Boise State the win over Notre Dame just because of my homerism, but I wanted an ounce of credibility, so I had to think a little realistically. I think it's going to be a good game in South Bend. I really do. I think that it's going to come down to probably who has the ball last, or which defense can make the most. Obviously, which defense can make the most stops, but makes the last stop. And it'll probably have a similar feel to the Penn State Fiesta Bowl game last year, where we're in it, right there in it for the entirety of the game, and we may lose a step right at the end or may take them right to the end. So this team's a lot better than what it was last year as far as some of the talent that we have coming in, like Ohio State transfer linemen, and we actually have a Notre Dame cornerback. So there's talent there, and the size is there, and the mentality is there. Whether or not that translates to getting them over the hump to beat the number 6 team in the nation, which everything goes right, they could be ranked even higher than that by the time they play Boise State. It could be a top 15 matchup by that time. So you just got to get past game 1, though, tomorrow, and that's against South Florida, where Boise State comes in as a 5.5-point favorite. So with a 64.5% chance to win it all. We'll see what Florida State does. They haven't played a game since December of last year, December 24th. They beat San Jose State in that 41-39 5 overtime thriller. So we'll see if that translates into any kind of success this year. And I look forward to trying to get off work early to be able to watch that game. It starts at 4:30 here in Texas.
And so I'm in the same boat as you. Broncos are coming into this season. Last 2 seasons undefeated in Mountain West Conference play. If they turn the tables this year, that'll be 3 straight seasons. I too think there's a good chance that they may be the upset in South Bend. I wrote in our article on BroncoNationUpdates.com, kind of covering what the team lost to the transfer portal, what we gained from the transfer portal, and the recruiting class coming in. And it's a really good read. I really kind of sat on it and gleaned as much as I could leading up to that first depth chart that was put out. And there's Alex finally. My take on this season is last year the Broncos had a top 50 ranking as a defense. I think in order for them to get back to the college football playoffs and get a win, which is one of their goals, is they really need to elevate the defense from 50th into the 30s. Because if you looked at all the other teams that were in the college football playoffs, they're in the mid-tier, the 30s and up.
Right.
In my article, I put down, I wrote that Penn State had like a 6 and a 12, like a 6 in overall points allowed and 12th like overall. So we did pretty good against them, despite the way that our defense was ranked. Alex says she's worried about the USF's quarterback. Let's talk about USF. Going into this game, Byram Brown is probably their main threat. He's a dual threat quarterback. He can run and he can pass. He was injured most of the 2023 and 24 season. Came in at the later half of the 24 season. Last year, USF finished 7-6. They're on an uphill trend or climb. They've reached the bowl twice, 2 years in a row under their current coach, who's really good. He's really good at bringing these teams along. And like you said, they are right now. The spread's 5.5.
Yep.
It was 5.5. It was as high as 8 at one point. So it's kind of come back down as the hype around Byram Brown is focused on. I personally, I think if the defense can contain him, and do a nice job at shadowing and just keeping him in the pocket and let him try to beat him through the air. I think they have a better success at that. Their defense does allow a lot of yards, about 300 yards a game, I think. Alex, right now it's only sitting at 5.5 spread. But the Boise State does have it. Sam said just earlier it was at a 64.5% chance to win the game.
Yeah, and South Florida, they don't have that easy of a non-conference schedule either. They've got obviously Boise State to open up the season, and then they go to Florida, and then they go to Miami. So the 3 of their 4 non-conference games are they're gonna hurt. So, if
Well,
they can get
you know,
if they can get through them injury free, then and get some kind of put some kind of game plan together and get respectable showings, they could make a run. They could even find themselves undefeated in the AAC and playing for a conference title game.
so that means that this adds a little bit more weight for this game if we can get this win.
Yep.
You know, and they do well the rest of the season, that would just bolster our SOS and help
Yep.
us in the long run.
Especially if they can find a win at Florida or at Miami.
Mm-hmm. I would think that the Miami game is probably more winnable than the Florida game.
Yeah, I agree with that. And only because Miami's going to have a new quarterback. And obviously he's an accomplished quarterback, a little guy, and some of you might know Stetson Bennett. No, it's not. Yeah, it is. Am I saying that right? Hold on.
I thought, yeah, I think he's in the
No,
or he was in
it's
the
Beck,
NFL.
isn't it? Carson Beck, not Stetson Bennett.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had my wrong Georgia quarterback.
Okay.
I said it, and immediately after I said it, I said, that's not right. That didn't taste right coming off my tongue. But yeah. So Miami's got an accomplished quarterback coming in, an SEC quarterback, so they may not see that fall off. But like you said, of Florida or Miami, I'd say Miami would be the best for an upset.
And that would still help us. You know, any win against a Power 4 is, especially if we have a win over that team, any of the teams, that's good for us. And we'll cover it. We'll be covering these all season long. So, yeah. So, you guys still have time. Go to BroncoNationUpdates.com and just start binging in there. There's lots of videos and articles to get you caught up on what you missed over the off season. We have interviews with C25 recruits that may see some action tomorrow or even later on in the season. Let's see, we got a question here. So how's USF's backfield other than Brown?
There's Brown. They did get some running back transfer from Oklahoma, Sam Franklin. So we did get they did get an SEC running back. Whether or not he becomes the starter, I don't know.
But that's another thing that I kind of highlighted in my article was, there's a sense of urgency on the defensive line. Actually, the whole defense. I mean, we lost key players from every level of the defense through transfer, through graduation, and into the NFL. So it's really, when it comes to the running game, it's really going to depend on how Deion Washington and David Latu and Braxton Feely all mesh right there in the center, and then you got Max Steege on the defensive end, and then you got JVM. It's really going to hinge on the urgency of how fast that these guys can mesh and become a strong unit. That's really, as I was building this article, it's like that, like the defense, like it was like overpowering. Like, all right, this season's really gonna hang on the balance with that. Another thing that other than, I think, the offensive line is solid. Lots of depth there. Of course, the stable is great. We got 3 healthy quarterbacks, or 3 healthy running backs right now. Depending, they've named co-starters Sire Gaines and Malik Sherrod, but you still have Dylan Riley back there, who's been proven to be durable. So I'm not worried about the running game. The kicking game is still kind of questionable. We don't know We don't know how well Colton Boomer is going to be. And then, we got a new punter too. So my two areas of kind of concern are how urgent the defense meshes right away. And then also the special teams on the kicking end, how that's going to kind of play out. And hopefully that works well. We have a all conference, probably at least a second team All-American, maybe even an All-American long snapper in Mason Hutton there that's going to really help our kicking game. But as far as the returning, we got Trell back there for punts, and we got Malik Sherrod and Dylan Riley for kickoffs. So I'm expecting some pretty exciting returns on special teams. So those are my two areas. And if you go read the article, it's really easy to read. It gives you a lot of stats to back up and support everything, and puts everything in perspective, all the new talent and transfer and the transfers out. So I really encourage you guys to go read that before the game, and then just go in there and binge some of those videos. It's and it's all free, no paywalls.
Yeah. It's important to note too that all the people who, myself included, always complain about the secondary. I don't think we're going to have those same complaints this year. I think this is probably one of the best secondaries Boise State's put together since Kyle Wilson.
Yeah. That's to me. There's a lot of depth in there. So there's a lot of, and I think that Buck Benefield's going to have a breakout year this year. I think he's going to have like a JL-esque kind of year. I just think it's his junior season. I think he's gonna, and he just has the right leading mentality and to do so. I think he's going to do really big things this year. And then you got, and I'm really confident in P. Dalla, Marion McCoy, and Irby too. I think he's making strides. And then what they've brought on board with Jaden Mickey, Jalen Webb, and then they've got some really good younger talent too that's coming on board that packs a punch. Arthur DeBochi, watch out! That guy's gonna lay the smackdown on some people. And yeah, a lot of good nickelbacks, cornerbacks, a lot of depth. So I think the only thing is they need to have a sense of urgency and meshing and becoming a complete packaged unit, and just stifle these offenses and make it so that these games are manageable. I wrote about it in the article. It's that's what all good playoff teams have, is they have that defense that slows the game down for the offense so that they can just dominate the game from beginning to the end.
Yep. I'm excited about this season, Nick.
I am too.
Looking at our schedule, obviously not Notre Dame, because if we're going to lose a game, that's going to be the game that we lose. But which game worries you the most, or has the most potential to be a trap game for Boise State?
Like you said, we're probably going to get the best out of everyone, but that Appalachian State could be one.
Yeah,
because Notre Dame is, regardless of what everybody says, one game at a time. That is a big game. That is a huge game. That is a history-making game. Going into South Bend is not just another game. Okay. So I would probably think maybe Appalachian State, perhaps. Air Force is always tough.
Yeah. What I don't want to happen is another Nevada fiasco where we miss 2 field goals and lose the game.
Yeah.
Especially if we
So-
beat Notre Dame.
Yeah. So my guess, I would have to just pick the game before the big game because that's
Right.
usually what the prep game
Yep.
is. But yeah, we're certainly going to be getting people's best out there. So
Yeah. What game are you most, outside of Notre Dame, what game are you most excited to see this year?
I'm looking forward. I'm actually looking forward to the Appalachian State game because I'm going to be, in my seat there. Yeah, it would have been if we would have had the Eastern Washington game in Washington. I may have traveled down to that one.
Yeah.
But outside of that, it's either going to be Appalachian State or the UNLV when they come to
Yeah.
town. Yeah.
All right. Who's your preseason MVP?
Oh, let's see. I got to go. I think it's got to be the leader, Mad Dog. I think that he keeps things calm in the huddle. He's always giving 110%. You can see it on every play. Like even when he's running downfield, blocking for people. I think it starts with him.
Yep.
I think he's going to be my preseason.
I agree.
MVP.
He turned me from a hater to a believer last year, and now he's my MVP, preseason MVP this year.
Yeah, he's just a winner, man.
Yep.
Anyway, glad everybody watched from beginning to the end. If you come on this show after it's over, please give us a sub. Everything helps. We're sharing our revenue with the monetization on all of our platforms with the school. So all your views, all your likes, and your shares and subs help out. We're we boast that all of our content is free, and other than that, the most important thing to me outside of the viewership and stuff is if you're able to, and it you're in a blessed situation where you can contribute, go to our nonprofit blueelevation.org and give anything or everything. Anything and everything helps, even $1. We just donated to the softball program today and also to the football program today. So, when I say bleed blue, that means like truly bleed blue. We want to be a fan base that's championship caliber, just like the teams that are working their ass off on the field and on the courts. So we can too, and that means going to the games, selling out the games, cheering and giving your all, but also helping out financially where you can. Like even if it's a BAA or my favorite, our nonprofit Blue Elevation, it all helps because us diehard fans, we want to stack championships and we want to dominate this new Pac-12 conference. So I want everybody to bleed blue, and that's what it means. Like just be championship caliber as a fan. What do you got going on, Sam? What are you looking at in this week? What's on your sports desk?
Gonna be doing reviews of all the games this weekend. Should have the SEC preview out before the SEC kicks off tomorrow night. So that's me, just reviewing the weeks and then previewing next week, and then putting out my week 1 top 25.
Awesome. We may be having an immediate reaction to the game exclusively in the Bronco Nation Updates Facebook page. We'll go Facebook Live in there. So look for that as you guys are in the game thread. look for the final posting, and then immediately after that, if it's possible, Sam and I will do an immediate game reaction in the group, and so we'd love to see you there and participate in any way you can. So until then, I hope you guys enjoy the game tomorrow. I'm hoping and praying for a win. It's very important that we start the season off right if we want a chance at another CFP. And again, thanks for watching our show, and help support our nonprofit and what we're doing at BroncoNationUpdates.com. Until then, go Broncos!
Go Broncos!
Hi, I'm Ron Dorn. I'm president of Blue Elevation. A lot of you have probably heard of it in other sites like Bronco Nation Updates, and I just want to talk a little bit about Boise State football and what we're trying to do to help move the team forward. It's a lot of fun to work with them, but as you know, with the upheaval in college football and the NIL money, we're always needing more, and we're trying to do that by giving more news to you than you can get in other sources, and events that you might be able to attend. And we would just love to see your support, additional support for Boise State, so we can take this to the next level, especially moving into the Pac-12. I see such a bright future for us by doing this. For those of you that are as old as I am, you remember when we had wooden bleachers and we did rodeos in the stadium, and we had good coaches, and we were doing the best we can with what we had. These coaches need that continuated support to make it happen for us. You can see what we've done with what little we've had, but we really need the help, and we just need the commitment, and we need you to get involved with us to push the Boise State program forward. Again, especially going to the Pac-12, and especially the futures out there, and what the basketball team is doing, the women's softball team is doing, and some other sports that I follow. We just want to keep you involved and focused and helping us out any way that you can do that to support our university.